Does the gentleman from Virginia seek recognition?
Yes, Mr. Speaker. I ask unanimous consent to lay H.R. 82 on the table.
Without objection, so ordered. Pursuant to Section 3Z of House Resolution 5, the House stands adjourned until 9:30 a.m. on Friday, November 8th, 2024.
Republican Representative Bob Good. He was the House chair of the Freedom Caucus until he lost his primary. Now, he resigned from the Freedom Caucus shortly after, but that doesn't mean that he doesn't support them anymore. It was done because he's not staying in office. And on Election Day, he decided to move to table a bill to send out a message of what he and his group and people like him believe in. And it was tabled. The bill is a bipartisan bill that would increase Social Security payouts for many people starting in 2024. Bipartisan, the sponsor was Republican, and we get down here, let's take a look at this. This bill repeals provisions that reduce Social Security benefits for individuals who receive other benefits, such as pension from a state or local government. The bill also eliminates pension offset, which in various instances reduces Social Security benefits for spouses, widows, widowers who also receive government pensions of their own. The bill also eliminates the windfall elimination provision, which in some instances reduces Social Security benefits for individuals who also receive a pension or disability benefit from an employer that did not withhold Social Security taxes. These changes are effective for benefits payable after December 2023. This was tabled, for now at least. Now, what does tabling a bill do? It seems a lot of people seem to think it's putting it on the table. For those that don't know, tabling a bill is essentially a move to try to kill that bill. Now, I fully expect it to be revived by the end of the year with bipartisan support. Because you can't, after this, do it. After putting it out there. Bipartisan, I think they'll save it. But to me, it does give a peek into what may be to come. Maybe you aren't an immigrant, so you aren't worried about those campaign statements. Now, I want to be clear. I do mean immigrant, not just illegal immigrant. Because I've listened to the people that are advising Trump and the things they've said publicly. They want to go after naturalized citizens and people with birthright citizenship. Maybe you don't have any kids or grandkids, so getting rid of the Department of Education doesn't affect you. Maybe you do, but you think, well, my kids aren't, for example, autistic, they don't need special care, so it'll be fine. Or maybe you have the money to pay for their private education. Maybe you aren't gay, or trans, or have friends or family, so those restrictions aren't on your mind. Maybe you're a man, are sterilized, or have reached an age where you can't get pregnant. So lacking of health care during pregnancy, including wanted pregnancies, it just isn't a concern. You won't be the next Neva Crane, who at 18 died in Texas after her much wanted pregnancy had a complication. The fetus was rotting in her womb. It was septic. But it still had a heartbeat. The heartbeat hadn't stopped yet. So the doctors, out of fear of going to prison, watched the mother's heartbeat stop. 20 hours, 3 emergency rooms, and they watched her die. But you don't have to worry about that. Maybe you don't understand that a tariff is a tax paid by U.S. companies, so it will just raise the price on all foreign goods. Maybe you don't realize that that means domestic goods will, of course, be a little cheaper at start and have a higher demand, causing an immediate raise in price for, basic economics, supply and demand. Maybe you think we'll make these products at home, but those billions, trillions of dollars to build all of these factories that take years to get up and running, the consumers will pay the cost. But maybe none of that has you worried. But maybe you have Social Security. Well, the first shots are coming at Social Security. They didn't even wait to the end of Election Day. And out of all those issues I mentioned, don't expect the youth to be out protesting for Social Security. For a very simple reason, younger people never expected to have it. They have lived their entire lives hearing one party say that they're going to get rid of it in some form or another, restrict it, raise the age. The youth of today never expected to have Social Security for themselves. Now, states might be able to protect things like gay rights and abortion, but they can't protect your federal Social Security. And states can only protect things until a federal ban comes into place. You would hear people say that they crossed countries to come to America to try to make this nation their new home, to give a better life for their children. And right now, I know multiple people who are, for that reason, looking into how they can leave. Because, let's say, everything that the youth is worried would happen happens. But in 2028, the Democrats have a blowout win. House, Senate, presidency, everything. Hell, let's say they get the 4 years after that too. The amount of damage you can theoretically do to an institutions that have stood for over 100 years, how long do you think it takes to fix that damage? When the Supreme Court has 2 more Trump appointees on it, that's a lifetime on the Supreme Court. A lot of people are just calling it. Now, what's funny about all this is, at least the numbers last I looked, Trump lost support. But Kamala Harris did worse than Joe Biden in 2020. And a lot of people have a various reasons why. I will say I don't think sending Bill Clinton and Richie Torres to Michigan and insulting the Muslim community in the process was a right move, among many other things. And another reason people are just done is they know how Democrats respond when there's a loss like this, and you look at it and you take a look at who didn't turn out. And it's the people that are more left than the Democrats in many cases. What is the response the Democrats always try? They try to go right. Kamala Harris did it this election. Think about it. She had Liz Cheney and all of those Republicans up. That's wild, right? She got lower Republican voter percentage than Joe Biden did in 2020. So don't think that like people want to leave America because like they don't have faith in Trump. They don't have faith in the Democrats either. And I thought I should do some sort of an update post-election with some of my thoughts. And what's real funny, I have to say, is when it comes to people that are the most upset right now. Well, number one, cheering is funny. I don't think that all the J6ers get pardoned. Maybe I'm wrong. I think some might. Some, especially, he might be able to use politically, like that one actor from Anchorman. Like, hey, pardon him and do a whole thing about it, right? what I expect is a lot of them to be abandoned. Like Rudy Giuliani. The Rudy Giuliani who Trump still owes money to, who's in court today because he showed up to vote in a vehicle he is court ordered to surrender to his victims for lying about them in 2020, which he's now says he's turning the vehicle over on Monday. He's claiming he can't find things, but state level courts will get him. So I think that a lot of the J6ers are preemptively celebrating because there is a chance that maybe he only pardons the non-violent ones. A lot of them have violent charges. But there's another group that I'm starting to see despair. A group that you might expect and might not. And it would be the pure MAGA grifter. Now, I don't mean the ones that have an ulterior motive, right? Like, some of them do it because they have friends or family who are J6ers and they still have that hope, right? But the ones that are there for the pure grift. And I'm not talking about the MAGA stores. They'll still sell that stuff because Trump's president, right? But what I'm talking about is people that would go and film the border and harass minorities for no reason or show up at different protests then, because the thing is, they were the counterculture at the time. During Joe Biden the last 4 years, they ate so good. There was always somewhere to be. Some protest. And those protests were, with support of the people that are currently in power, or at least that side of the political sphere. But it's so easy. It's so easy to be the counterculture MAGA. Okay, Trump won. What now? Sure, there'll probably be some protests here or there they can show up to if they're willing to. But all the others, all the ones that are trying to run these like MAGA support groups and things like that, I mean, your side's in power, what's the point? And we saw what happened in 2016, because there was stuff like this in 2016, and then after Trump got into power in 2017, a lot of them disappeared. Because there's almost nothing there. The ones living off of it, unless you're at the top, you're about to be cannibalized. Which is really funny, because I'm already checking in on certain MAGA, pro J6, different content creators that I have watched over the years. And immediately, viewership numbers are tanking. Donations are stagnating. They got a little boost election night, and then it's just gone. And it's just, as a final thought, it's funny to me that some of the people that are going to be the most upset that Donald Trump is president are going to be people that voted for him. Maybe they can't afford a home, can't afford to get one built, can't find the labor, their business can't find the labor. Maybe they had actually a local restaurant was as immigrant labor, they're gone. Friends or family deported. Their grandchild's education screwed up. Daughter, granddaughter dies in pregnancy, has forced to carry a rape baby. Some of them will hate Trump, and they'll hate him a lot. They'll hate him the most. I really do think so. But sadly, there will be some who will live through so much of that, and somehow they're not going to be to blame. It's always someone else's fault. I don't have a message of excitement for anyone that followed me for political content. I don't have an uplifting message. I think things are fucked. And I think they're going to get worse. And I think they're going to be maybe not to the point of, Hitler. but that would be due to incompetence. If he can get people like Stephen Miller and give them a high position, then it could end up that way. What am I doing? What have I been doing? It's 2 days after the election. I've been playing that video game I said I was going to play. And after this video, I'm going to go play it some more. And I'm probably going to play it a lot. I've been neglecting my video game channel for a variety of reasons. I do plan to do more content on that. I have another game coming out. Well, an event and a game coming out at the end of the month. I'm excited to play that. And it doesn't mean I'm done covering the news or politics or anything like that. But there's just not a lot of hope going on. I think things are going to get bad. I think they're going to get real bad. And I think they're going to get bad for a lot of people who thought they were going to get better. And it's wrong of me right now. I know it's wrong of me, but I don't have pity for them right now. I don't. I don't have pity for the immigrants that voted for Trump and are now facing possibly themselves or family or friends being deported. I don't have pity. Because they were warned, right? And it's very disillusioning that a lot of people just didn't show up in the swing states or in general, but mostly the swing states, because I think that the swing state losses were, people are so mad when you say it, I think they're the Harris campaign's fault. I think the Harris campaign had to go more left, and they were terrified to. And I think part of the reason they were so terrified to is they were afraid that if they went farther left, they would be called anti-Semitic because they didn't support Israel enough. And I think that might have cost them everything. And I also think that, I don't even think, I know that if you go and look and see who's being blamed on mainstream media, oh, she went too far left. I think if they had kept the message, if they had kept the momentum from the nomination, I think if they had kept up with targeting the youth and not embracing, allow the Republicans to endorse you, but you don't have to bring them on stage. I feel like they gutted their own campaign, and we're here. This is my ramble, my rant. I know people look at this, what this guy did, trying to table this bill, and they'll say, well, he's a guy going out, so, we don't have to worry about it. He's not going out and doing this to try to make Republicans look bad. He's going out and doing this because this is what the type of thing he always wanted to do. And if they get comfortable enough, once they're in power, this is the type of thing the current Republicans would do. And I'm not talking about blocking just future changes to help Social Security. I think they're going to gut it. The best case scenario, in my opinion, if you have Social Security, is that they'd only just officially get rid of it for the youth and continue to force them to pay in. I think that's the best outcome that they can hope for from the Trump administration, but I think it'll be worse. I do. I think there's going to be things that you won't even imagine. RFK Jr. wants to get rid of fluoride in the water, for example. Have you thought about that? Have you bothered to look into other places that did that and saw their huge, massive increases in childhood infections and different mouth issues? Well, all of America's goods are just packed full of corn syrup and sugar. And when getting food imported is more expensive and you need to bulk up your food so people still buy it, add those calories, where do we get it? Corn syrup, sugar. I think obesity epidemic is about to get a lot worse because food is about to get a lot worse. I think safety in food is about to get a lot worse. How do I know that? Well, RFK Jr. is already talking about how he wants to gut entire agencies of the FDA, and just the fact that we got rid of certain processing plants being looked into. Think of the Boar's Head issue that killed people. Now, yeah, I can, as a consumer, say, I'm not dumb enough to buy raw milk. But in America, we're supposed to trust that if we buy pasteurized milk, that it was safely pasteurized. Can we do that after the FDA is gutted? I don't think we can. I think things are going to get worse in ways you wouldn't imagine, and things that you thought were going to happen are going to happen. And a lot of people go, well, Trump is old. He's old. And he's either old enough now that he's not really going to be running the show, or maybe he'll pardon himself, pardon people, and step down even. Some people have thought it. So I've seen people in MAGA kind of hoping he does that. That Trump instead just goes and starts doing like rallies and keeps partying and hands it off to J.D. Vance. And in all of those scenarios, President J.D. Vance, a man who will literally do anything for power. Donald Trump was America's Hitler. And J.D. Vance stood by his side when basically no one else would. Are you ready for President J.D. Vance?